Everybody here?
So,
Okay.
yep,
All right, cool. I'm trying to get my lighting right here.
I got you.
Oh yeah, you prepared, man. You got the headset and everything.
I have to do the headset, man. My phone, my computer ain't all that great.
Nice.
Sis, just to let you know, I still see your picture with your big smile on the panel here. So I just want you to know that. We see your lovely smile all right there. Boom, it's plastic. So if you cool with that, we can get it going. I'm just letting you know.
She don't want to respond.
Yeah, so so just to let you know, she's sending messages direct. Okay, you're recording. Okay, cool. Let me go ahead and get this down here. Let's go here. Sis, so I don't mess up the intro, I'm gonna allow you to put the Saucy Marriage Weekend in there, so I don't mess it up and not do it the way that you decided or wanted me to do, because we didn't talk about it. So I'm gonna just start from, okay, do your thing. All right, I'll take the flow. Let's go ahead and get it going, my brother. All right, so listen, what's going on, everybody? For you that know me or don't know me, my name is Willie Johnson. I'm a life coach, motivational speaker, self-published author, I'm an artist. You know, I wear many hats, but the one hat that I haven't wore and that I'm looking to wear is being a husband. And I appreciate you all for coming on and to literally talk to me about things and help me see what I need and what other men need to do in order to have to start off in a good relationship that can move to a marriage. Because I'm pretty sure, you know, when we was younger and stuff like that, we was chasing for the physical, but not the emotion. Mm-hmm. So now we're at a place where we need to teach our brothers, our young brothers, how to chase the emotional and mental so that we can have that peace in our life. Because when you get a piece from the wrong piece, it disturbs your peace. Did y'all hear how I put that together? That was a good one. Money, that's a shirt too as well. When you get this, sis, make sure you put that on the shirt. I'm giving you multi-million-dollar ideas, sis. Just give me a percentage of it. But listen, man, so I'm gonna let y'all introduce you all self. You can go one by one, just introduce yourself, a little bit about yourself. You know, don't give a whole spiel, but you know, just letting people know why they should listen to you, an aspect of your expertise of what you've learned in your life about your relationship with yourself, your relationship with your wife, and then a couple things, you know, as we go, what you will say that, you know, you learned that you would want people to know. So just introduce yourself and just tell a little bit about yourself. It don't matter. Go ahead.
My name is Austin.
Austin, you go first. Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. Cool. My name is Austin. I'm 38. I'm gonna be 39 in August. I've been married. You know, my wife is Imani Aisha. I've been married since 2012. We met in 2008. I'm a father. Sovereign is, you know, our daughter. She's our 5. She'll be 6 in November. I don't claim to be an expert. You know, I'm on this journey of always learning and growing. I believe that you know, it's you know, in a relationship, communication, you know, is important. And it's important to look at it as a journey, as you two growing together. You know, you're never gonna master anything. It's always a learning or a lesson in marriage and life, period, you know. So I kind of try to stay in the moment and appreciate those moments and experiences. And I never look at it as a bad thing or a good thing. It's just a lesson and, you know, something you can grow from. So that's what I try to focus on.
Okay. All right. Antonio, you can go next.
My name's Antonio. I'm the rookie of the bunch. I've been married for just over a year, but we've been together for 6 years. And I'm a rookie when it comes to marriage, but I'm an all-star on the father part of the things. You got 4 kids. Oldest turned 13 yesterday. 34. I don't know how I feel about it yet. My girl, she ain't a little girl no more. She a little bit bigger. So that's the biggest battle I'm fighting. But just learn to be open to learning new things. Being prior military, I was very set in a singular mindset of having to do everything on my own, have to have my own back, have to lead myself. And through guidance and through just life lessons, learned it wasn't all about me. Had to push forward, and I had to look out for other people and kind of force myself to grow.
Okay. All right, Mr. Brian, go ahead.
All right, my name is Brian Elmore. I guess I'm the elder of this bunch here.
OG.
We've been married for 25 years, been together for 27. Throughout our lifetime, we are combined. Well, I shouldn't say it like that, but we are a blended family. Well, we're not blended anymore. It's all just one big happy family, from all sides. But so we've been in this thing for a little while, and I'm here just to try to give you some nuggets of what we went through over our 27-year tender, and we're still going strong. We're still going strong. Actually, we're more in love today than we were when we first married. So things, life pushes you in certain situations and pushes you through. And when you get through the other side of through, God shows you, okay, well, hey, this is where you're supposed to be.
Okay, cool. So, then attendees, listen, if you have any questions, you can put it into the chat. And if you don't want us to know who it is that put the question out there, you can put it in the Q&A, and we'll be going through, and I'll look at it and see what's going on. And if anybody have any questions, I ask them out. But we actually have a couple questions already that was already sent to me to ask. And then I'm asking questions as well too, because I think the biggest thing is, as men, we don't have enough of these panels, right? We don't talk about it, because we try to find a way to deal with everything ourselves most of the time, right? So when you have men that's willing to talk about, hey, the downfalls, the successes that you have had, I think this is what gives a lot more people an understanding that, hey, men have feelings too, Exactly. And it seems like when you hear people talk and say that either had a bad marriage or had a bad relationship, they'll say, well, he didn't talk to me, but did you all set a foundation where you're starting out and communicating together, right? So us as men, we keep it in, deal with it, let it go, move on, right? That's what we was taught. And most of us, and I tell you, that surely messed me up because for a while, it was like I wouldn't express to a lady what it is that I wanted. Mm-hmm. I would just, if she didn't do it, I just chalk it up and move on with it, right? So just to ask you, Brian, to tell me, at what point in your dating period with your wife that you knew that you wanted to marry her?
Oh man. Mine was quick, bro. Mine was quick.
How long would you say it took you?
It took me probably about within the first 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Within the first 6 months, I met my wife. Okay, so I'm gonna give y'all a little background story. I met my wife. I really met my wife on a
on a whim.
No, actually, it was okay. So there was a guy at my job. Mm-hmm. And me and him were pretty good friends, right? But he always told me about this light-skinned chick that worked down the street from our job at the bank, right? So he was like, man, I've been trying to get with this girl, but he was married.
His woman.
No, but he was married though. He was married, right? So, but he was like, I've been trying to talk to this girl, man, but she won't give me a time of day, this, that, and I'm like, okay, well, he would talk about it. He would like put her on this pedestal. I'm like, well, I gotta kind of go down here and meet this chick, right? So I go down there, man, and I'm just like, wow, right? So everything he was telling me about this young lady was like, wow. So what I would do was I would actually, I don't know why my video this. I don't know why I went on. Okay, there we go. So I went down there. I was just like, wow. So when I met her, I was like, man, I gotta kind of do something different from what somebody else has done, right? So I played the intimidation role. I would just go, and every time I go down there to cash my check, I make sure I went to her.
Okay.
All right.
You
So
was
I
fly.
wouldn't, yeah, exactly. Right. But I wouldn't say anything. I would just like, I was like, okay, hey, my name's Brian. Them I need to fill out these checks. Back then, they will let you fill out, because I had other people that work at my job. And they were like, well, just go and take our checks with you and then just count and cash them. Back then, they would cash all your checks because they knew who people were. Right. So but so I would go down there every single Friday.
Okay.
And I finally got enough nerves to just, say, hey, how you doing? I'm kind of interested, this, that, and the other, right? So what actually happened was she had a boyfriend.
Mm,
Okay.
mm,
She
mm.
had a boyfriend. So this was in January. So I kind of let it go, but every Friday I still would go down there, and play the little role or whatever. So I think it was like in May. So I met her in January. And we really kind of hit it off in May, right? I know it's a long story, so I'm trying to make it short.
No, go
We
ahead.
hit it off in May. It was my mom's birthday, so I was going through the drive-through. I went inside first. They said, "Oh no, she's in the drive-through now." So I went back to my car, got in my car, came around to the drive-through. So it was like right at 4 o'clock. They closed at 4. It was right at 4. So I gave her all the checks. She was like, "Well, I'm gonna cash them for you this time." I said, okay, well, I appreciate it, and then I said, well, I need to take you out to lunch to be able to, let you know how appreciative I am of this, And she was
Uh-huh.
like, well, no, because I said, well, I said, just think about it. She said, okay, well, I'll tell you what, I give you my number and you just call me. I know, I told her I'd give her my number and she just called me. So I gave her my number, so she called, right? But, everything else kind of fell in line, but that's when we met, right? So I want to say around 6 months later, it was Christmas Eve. She was at the house. I had some friends over, and I popped the question, right? But then it was just kind of like, I ain't trying to get married right now. This, that, and other. I'm like, yeah, I ain't either, but I'm just letting you know what my intentions are, right?
Mhm.
So within 6 months of us started dating, I actually let her know what my intentions were at that point.
So before the 6 months before you asked her, did you know you wanted to ask her to marry you before
Yeah,
that?
yeah, because she had everything I was looking for. I mean, I was 26 years old. I mean, I was 26, but I lived a life of a 40-year-old man at that particular time. And it was just like I've seen everything, done everything. I already knew what I wanted. I wanted
Mm.
somebody that that was old fashioned, that didn't mind cooking for their man, that knew how to cook. Okay, because that was very, very
That's important.
that's
That's
important.
important.
Yes,
You
sir.
got to know
So
how to cook. Just
right,
because you
right.
can cook. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh-huh.
I don't want to come home and eat chicken every day, man.
Yeah.
But
Dry
she
pig
was,
too.
before
No.
we even got to that point, dog, she was already coming over to the house, man. Um, she was cooking. I had kids at that time. She was taking them to daycare for me, dropping them off while I went to work. She was
Right.
doing all the stuff that a wifey would do anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was like, great. And then, the icing on the cake was that the fact that she was in church and that she knew how to sing. Right.
Okay.
So that really had me right there. I was like, that answers all my questions, man. I'm good. I'm good. So yeah, so I just had to work it because at first, she was not she had no kids, right?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's hard trying to get a woman to marry a man that got kids.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So I had to put it
Princess, you
on.
almost don't miss. See, Princess almost missed the blessing. If
She
she wouldn't
almost
have,
missed it,
she
dog. She
almost
almost
missed that blessing. Now I'm telling you.
she
But
almost missed it, man. But hey,
yeah.
but God blessed us, man, and we hear that. It's a whole lot more that goes to that story. But yeah, that's the outskirts, man. But yeah, I knew within 6 months, actually within less than 6 months, I knew within like 2 or 3 months that she was the one. I just
The
had to
reason
convince her that she was the one.
the reason I asked that question is because I think what women also need to understand about men, it doesn't take us long to know if we want to marry.
Right.
We
Mhm.
want to build a relationship with you or a life with you. It doesn't take us long to know it. Now, to say it or verbalize it,
Mhm.
it may take a little bit longer. But
Right.
mentally and emotionally, from the guys that I know that are really trying to change and be a better man, it doesn't take that long. Now, these guys we're not talking about these guys that's out here that's acting crazy.
Right.
But just coming from you, Brian, and then to you, Antonio, because it's a big gap. You say you've been married a year, right?
Yep.
Right. So that's a gap, 25, 26 years or so to a year. Now, for you, the same question, how long did it take you to know that you wanted to marry your wife?
It might have took about 6 or 7 months
Okay.
to like know, but I was out of a hostile relationship and she was out of a hostile relationship. So that neither one of us felt that was on the table at that point.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't our intentions. We were like, we just want to enjoy each other's company, want to let things become organic.
Yeah.
But within that time, I knew.
Yeah. And
Like,
the reason I asked that to show the gap between, it doesn't matter the time frame, the age of the man. When a man knows, right? So, coming to you and asking you a question, with sis, being married to sis, she's such a lovely lady. Tell me, what was it that you did for yourself to say, you know what, at what point, let me better ask, at what point did you say, okay, I'm ready to marry her? I want you to answer that. And then also too, I want you to answer, what about you that you knew you had to change before you asked her to marry?
So that's a good question, man. So basically, a little backstory before we met. Mm-hmm. In 2006, I had gotten a divorce. I was living in Texas. I moved back home to New York. Mm-hmm. And at that point, I'm maybe 2006, I'm 24, 25. Mm-hmm. So at that point, I'm like, screw getting married, screw relationships. I'm done. I'm gonna just be a gigolo, put myself out there. And that's kind of the path I was taking, man. So I was, I wouldn't even say dating girls, but just getting into certain relationships where it was no commitments, And I did that for about 2 years. And then I met Imani, in 2008. And when I tell you, I cut everybody off, after I met her, because I met her at my niece's birthday party. It was at a bowling alley. So I see Imani, she had a bag of pretzels. She was like sharing with everybody because no one bought food to the bowling alley. So people were kind of hungry. And I just saw this like motherly vibe from her, caring person. Her aura was just, just something I hadn't seen before. Yeah. And the thing that I had to change, that I knew I had to change, was being, straight up. Because a lot of times we get into relationships and we bring our representatives. We're not, the true us. We try to be the person we think the other person wants to see, and it's not real. So, when I met her, I told her kind of, the things that had happened to me. I told her, my license suspended for 4 years. I got 2 DUIs. I'm on probation and all this stuff. So I was upfront with all that stuff. I let her know I was just in a marriage. I've been divorced. And that's the first time I've ever been truthful with, any person in a relationship that quick. I mean, I told her this within like 3 days, man, and it wasn't a situation where I was like, all right, I'm gonna wait until this time to call her, or I'm gonna wait for her to call me back. It was like, when I felt like calling her, I would just call her. I didn't feel uncomfortable, like she thought I was pressing, or, if she called me or any type of situation like that. And the day I knew I wanted to marry her was the day I told her, I wanted to be exclusive, which was like, I remember the day exactly. It was November 12th. We met October 8th. So a little over a month later, you know what I'm saying, is the day I say, let's be exclusive, And she didn't give me an answer then, she was like, all right, I got to think about it. So I'm thinking like, man, did I press it too hard? Was it too soon?
Money, see, you almost missed your blessing, girl. Look, see, I'm glad you said that, though. I'm going to segue into that. I want you to finish, though.
Yeah, but like I said, I knew within a month, man, that she was the one, because kind of how, Brian said earlier, I've seen it all, you know what I'm saying? Even though I was 24, 25, I was in the Marine Corps, I was in Japan, I was in Quantico. I kind of lived that, that bachelor's life, man, for a long time, man. In the military, we partied maybe 5 days a week, man, and, woke up, ran 5 miles, went to work, took a nap at lunchtime, went back out. You know what I'm saying? That was my life for about a good 2.5 years, man. So I kind of felt like, and being married previously, it kind of showed me who I needed to be and who I needed. And when I met Imani, man, like I didn't even have a list, but she checked off all the items, on the so-called list, and I just cut everybody else off, man. And it was it's still a great journey to this day, man. So
And
I knew quite early.
And I like that. The reason I asked that question for everyone is because I'm pretty sure you all have heard, some people, you'll hear women say, he moving too fast or too quickly, right? And it's like, it's not that we're, for good men, let me say that, because some men be moving quickly to
Right.
get the cakes, right?
Right.
But for a good man, it's like, we see it, and it's like, hey, I see what I want. I don't even need to waste no more time. This is what I want, right? So do you all feel that as men that's married, before you got married, or you seen friends or family members, that make mistakes, what would you say, and starting with you, Brian, what would be a mistake that you would say you see men that want to get married, and they are doing everything that they need to, or trying to do everything to get that woman? What would be a mistake that you think you have seen men make on a consistent basis?
Okay, so what I've seen men make is they're pursuing the wrong woman. Okay.
Hold up. Say that again. I need you to say that again.
Yeah, they're pursuing the wrong woman.
Yes.
Because the one, if you find, for me, okay, so let me tell you this. I got my oldest son is 3, right? He just got married this past year, right? But I got 4 other sons. Well, Donovan is my youngest. He's 14. So all the rest of them are grown. So I'll tell them all the time, when you first meet a young lady, after y'all get past the hee ha ha, we're having fun or whatever, when you get past that point, you got to let her know straight up what you're looking for, right? And you give her time to respond, and she's going to let you know in so many words whether or not that's where she wants to go.
Mhm.
But you got to give her that opportunity, right? But where men fall short at is that, oh, she's beautiful on the outside, right? But you tell her what your intentions are. I'm looking to, hey, I'm looking to get married. This is my 5-year plan or whatever. This is where I'm trying to get to. But if she doesn't take heed to that and say, yeah, that's what she's looking for too, then at that point, if she ain't looking for the same thing you're looking for, you need to kind of like, keep it at that friendship level and move on,
Right.
But
Yeah.
but yeah, that's where a lot of men they get on one woman and they stay there. Some women are just supposed to come in your life just to help you out in that particular situation or that particular time frame. But after that, God say she ain't supposed to be there forever. She just there for a minute, just to help you get past a certain point in your life. But that's where a lot of men they get stuck on the wrong woman and they stay there too long.
Oh, what you think about that? What would be your answer on that you've seen?
I feel like sometimes we settle, for what's out there. Like a lot of times, not to sound,
Cliche.
like I'm higher than you or whatever, but than the person you're dating. But when you're in a relationship with the person that you're supposed to be, you don't feel like you're settling. You feel like this person, make you level up basically, or make you step your game up. Sometimes you get into relationships and it feels like you're settling and you're comfortable. Like to me, that's a relationship that's not the one, because when you're in that relationship with the one, you're ready to give everything up. You're ready to do whatever you got to do to elevate yourself, just grow, man. And like I felt when me and Imani got married, like it's a rites of passage for men, like for me, marriage was one, like when you become a husband, it's like, all right, this is a rites of passage for a male, and then when you become a father, that's another one, when you're younger, when you become a teenager, that's a rites of passage for men. But I feel like, once you go through those steps, you kind of, when you meet that right woman, you know it, because you don't feel like you're settling. You feel like that person will elevate you to the levels you're trying to get to. And like Brian said, if that woman isn't, you give her your 5-year plan and she's not, kind of saying, I mean, right there, it kind of is like, all right, we can be friendly, but you're probably not the one for me. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But it's a feeling, man. It's a feeling. And like, you know it too, Willie, because you said it like clearly. You said men know within a month or off top, like that's the one, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So to me, like if you don't have that feeling, then you know you're settling, but you may not be in a position or want to admit that, you know, as a man, and you kind of settle and then you're stuck. And that's how I felt with my first marriage. And that's no shade to my first wife, but you know, we weren't right for each other. It wasn't a one-sided thing. We weren't right for one another. I wasn't in the mindset in that time to be right for her, and she wasn't the right person for me. So,
and I'm gonna get to you, Antonio. I'm gonna ask you a question as well too, but I want to go back to what you said on that. Now, when we settle as men, right? Do you think it's fear that we are not going to find our wife, or is that mindset because most of the time when we do settle, it's with a woman that's, if she a good woman, she don't go out, she you know, you ain't got to worry about her being in the streets, but she don't add that spice or value to your life. So do you think as men we settle more for the good girl that's not the girl for us, or we settle out of fear that we don't want to start over? Or it could be both.
It could be both, but I feel like we settle for that girl that makes us that ain't gonna get on us, you know, if we slacking. You know what I'm saying? That makes us feel comfortable. So I think that's the part. But then you start to resent that as a man, you know what I'm saying? Because you don't feel like not even that, because that person can't push you. You're like you're the person you are, you know, no one's gonna make you, you know, go out and do something. But I think it's a comfortable being comfortable, you know, that person makes you feel comfortable and you can get used to that, you know what I'm saying? And then you just live in life, you know, it's no growth.
Okay, I got you. Yeah. So Antonio, I want to ask you this question, man. This is one of the questions that came in. I want to make sure. It says, folks often say men don't get intentional about working on their marriage. What are your thoughts on that? So basically, you know, you get married and you just get married, but are you intentional with putting in the work on your marriage?
For me, I am, but I think that goes back to what we were just talking about. If you can get married to anybody, but if you're not getting married to that one that elevates you, you don't feel a need. It's that complacency, that level of comfort is like, well, I'm here, I'm married, I did my part.
Okay. And Brian, answer that for me as well too. You have more seasoned time in that. Answer that for me as well.
I'm sorry. Say that question
one more time. So it says folks often say men don't get intentional about working on their marriage. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, so my thought is this: when you say intentional, it's not really meaning. You know, I'm gonna take that word out because it's not intentional. Okay. You don't get married intentionally. You get married because you love that person, because you want to make things happen, right? So you don't do anything intentional when it comes to your marriage. Only thing you do intentionally is make those babies, right? So that's the only thing that you do intentionally. But as far as working on marriage, you work on the problems as they come up. You don't create a problem just to work on it. Right. So to me is I'm trying to just live my life with my spouse, and we're just trying to live the life the best we can. Now, if there becomes an issue, then we will work at that. Right. But I think the biggest thing for men is getting outside of single life to being a husband. It's no more of me anymore, right? It's not, oh, I can go do this. I got time for this. I got time for that. No, it's, well, hold on a second. Let me check with the wife, make sure that that I got time to do this. She may have something else for me to do, she may have something else she wants us to go do, so let me check in. But I think that is the work that you have to put in, right? For men, leaving that single life, going to the married life, having other people depending on you more so than yourself. So intentionally, I'm intentionally trying to make sure that my wife and myself, we both have a good life. That is what I'm intentionally trying to do. So yes, I'm going to work at it to do the best I can. And I think that's where a lot of men come into these marriages. Like, yes, I'm going to put in the work, to make sure that my marriage is working. But the problem is you let other outside influences to change your mind, to make sure to change your mind sometimes, to not want to intentionally make sure your marriage works.
Okay. So this question, I want all of you to answer this. You don't have to take long, but it's a simple answer. But I want to see if it's something that's a common denominator between all of us. So it says, what's one thing you wish your wife understood more about you? Antonio, you can go first.
Me, that I mean what I say. I'm very direct. Like, there's no hidden message. There's no what he could have meant. Like, what I say is like exactly what I meant.
And with you saying that, have you told her that?
We've had many conversations on it. She's coming around to understanding that.
Okay. And when you do it, do you say it with love, or is it like, because when you're saying, I'm direct, is I say what I mean. Like, do you relay that in a soft, from a soft place, or is this something where when you're stern about it, it's like, hey, you're gonna have to understand this. This is what it is. When I tell you, or is it more so? Do you feel like you do it from a softer side, like, hey, babe, when I'm talking to you, I'm just telling you, I'm gonna be honest about it. I'm not gonna beat around the bush.
Most times it's softer because I kind of choose the time, and like when we land and watching the movie, when it's I try not to point out stuff or make a claim to anything if we are already emotional about anything else.
Okay, that's good.
I feel like when we're emotional, we automatically talk and speak with emotion. And when we speak with emotion, we're not taking into account how we're affecting the other person. So most of my conversations that are serious are like when we're just chilling. We might be laying in bed in the morning. We might be just hiding from the kids for a little bit. And just a few words.
Okay. Oh, you can go ahead and tell me what you think. I can read it for you again. What's one thing you wish your wife understood more about you?
I think what Antonio said is what a lot of men go through, man, being misunderstood, So sometimes, you may be given constructive criticism, but since it's coming from you, your significant other might take it defensively. I remember, because when I was working out back in the day, I would try to train Imani, but Imani ain't the type of person that's going to take the type of training from an ex-Marine, you know what I'm saying? So he'd be like, why are you so rough on me? Why are you so hard on me? I'm like, baby, this is how I train everybody, because I've trained, cousins, friends of the family, my brother, my cousins, and I come the same way. But I understand, when it's your wife, like Antonio said, that's some good advice, for the fellas listening. Maybe approach your wife in a situation when she's relaxed, you're doing something you both are enjoying. Maybe that'll help. But I think that's for any man, just being misunderstood when you're trying to, give advice or something, not taking it, defensively.
Okay. What about you, Brian?
I wish my wife would understand men in general, right? Not really about me per se, but about just men, how men come across. One thing that Antonio said, the reason why I started laughing and smirking, because he hit it right on the head.
Mm-hmm.
When men say something to a woman, we're direct. We're not trying to beat around the mall. We're not trying to go around the mulberry bush. We're not trying to, go around the road and come back. So you don't have to second guess. You don't have to try to read me. You don't have to try to read nothing I'm saying. You don't have to try to read into nothing I'm saying.
Yeah.
If I'm telling you I'm going down the street around the corner to the 7-Eleven, I'm going down the street around the corner to 7-Eleven. That's where I'm going. I'm not I'm not going to give you no whole lot of rigmarole that you got to think about. But even in deep conversations, I think that women are so used to men lying to them that it comes up to where they can't take the truth. If you're telling them the truth, they can't take it. And I'm just like, okay, well, men are going to be straight to the point. No matter, even if they're doing something wrong, they're going to be straight to the point. They're not going to try to, it's hard for men to be, triple and multitask and all that. It's just too
Right.
much. And that's what I wish that my wife will understand is that, I'm straight to the point, and when we straight to the point like that is not, taking anything away from your intelligence or anything like that. But you don't have to really deep dive or think hard about what I'm saying because I'm gonna be straight to the point.
So ladies, that's going to watch this. Listen, it's literally basically the same thing that they're saying from 1 year to 25 years. When we say something, we're not saying, hey, that's law, but that's what we mean. We're not saying it to make you think, well, is he saying this or meaning this? No, that's what most men feel like. Just when I tell you something, don't ask 30,000 questions to get back to that, what I said at the beginning, because we feel like it could. That's when it correct me if I'm wrong, guys. That's when we feel like a woman is nagging to us. Am I right about that?
You're definitely right
Yeah.
about that.
Okay.
So
prolonging a conversation.
Yes, it.
Yeah. See,
we could be doing
I
something
thought I
else.
was the only person. I'm like, if you tell me something, okay, I got it. I hear you. I'm gonna change that. We don't gotta keep talking about it because you told me what I need to do. So I'm gonna do it.
But guess what?
Go ahead.
Because women have the exact opposite approach.
Yeah.
Like my wife, basically, let me give you an example. The internet went down the other day. So Imani comes to me and says, man, the internet is down and I can't work, man. And I don't know what to do. And instead of saying, hey, babe, can you come fix the internet for me? I can't fix it. She just went on all the way around the block to come back to finally asking me to fix it. I'm like, babe, just ask me to fix it. I want to do that for you. I'm cool. Just ask me straight up. I'm going to do it. So men are from here and then women are here, you know what I'm saying? But I understand that about her. And sometimes I'd be like, babe, just ask me what's up.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll do it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. One thing that I learned previously was the way men's mind work versus women. Mm-hmm. Men's minds are comprised of compartments, boxes. Every box has a reason. You got your mechanic box, you got your video game box, your movie box. And you have men have something that most women don't have, which is a nothing box. Mm-hmm. So when we're thinking, when we're just sitting there chilling, and your wife comes and says, what you think about? Nothing. They're like, well, you think about something? No, I'm not. But it's because women minds, they were told that their minds are more like spaghetti. Everything is connected. It intertwines. So they're trying to navigate to us through the way that their mind works.
Right.
And it's causing a disruption between the two. Because we have to just open the next box. Okay, we talking about this? Okay. Hold on. I didn't know we talked about this. Let me close that box. We talking about this?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're jumping around the box to box while all theirs is just connected.
Yeah, wow. Go ahead, Brian.
You hit that on the head.
Right.
I never even thought about that, man. I've been in this thing for 27 years. You just now let me know that it's all intertwined together. Okay, thank you for letting me know.
Right.
Seriously, because
right
now I can understand why when you talking to your wife, she can leave one conversation, go into another conversation, and it all connects.
Yeah.
You be like, what?
You be like, how did you remember that from 3 months ago?
Right.
Now, and
how did it get into this conversation today? When I'm mad about one thing. I'm mad because you left the house at 10 o'clock at night and I asked you not to. I'm mad about that one thing. I'm not mad about that. And then you went and saw sister so-and-so, and then I'm not even mad about that. I'm mad about that one thing.
So, it's funny that you said that, and I'm glad that you said that, Antonio, because that's something that as men, I never even thought of that either. Like, we needed to know that. So with even saying that, let me ask you this question, because I want to make sure I piggyback on that, because that's actually a really good thing to talk about. Now, with knowing that, when you get your wife and you tell her, hey, listen, this is what it is, and she's going to different conversations, and you're not there, how do you reel it back in, but not in a negative way, but reel it back in and say, hey, babe, let's finish this. How do you do that without causing it to be an argument of saying, well, you don't want me to talk about it, but it's like, no, I want to follow you. How do you bring that in? Because I think as men, we do have to learn how to be soft, because for so long we're taught to hold it in, and then express ourselves. So in a conversation, you're expressing yourself. So how would you say, if she's having a conversation, she go from one to another, and not just your wife, but just in general? How would you say, this is what, hey, babe, stop for a second. Let's talk or finish this out. How would you bring that to her?
I think understanding how one another thinks, it helps. And Antonio just broke it down masterfully. So if you understand that's how a woman thinks, then as a man, you can create a new box, a spaghetti box.
Yeah,
call
exactly.
it spaghetti box. It's like, all right, this is the spaghetti box. So I know that this operation is all intertwined, and the conversation may not make sense to me, but it makes sense to her. So you have to have patience and not take things personally, and understanding that's the way they think. So you have to be conscious of it and aware, so that you don't react, out of anger or being confused, which a lot of times, we are confused.
Yes.
And I think being aware helps us say, okay, slow down. All right, I understand. We're in the spaghetti box now. So what is it you really try to tell me, babe? So I can be clear, because I'm confused. Let them know you're confused. And I think that'll kind of help that situation, because you control if you get angry or not. Your wife can't make you angry. She can't make you happy. You control how you react to the situation. So that's how I would look at it, man.
Okay. Now we're gonna get to the topic that is probably one of the main reasons that causes divorce: money, right? Okay. Money. That has caused a lot of people to go through divorce because of that. So starting out, we was on the live panel. We was talking. And it was this one question that was asked. The guy said, my wife is investing and she don't know what she's doing, if I'm not mistaken, and she's losing money, right? So when you have a situation like that, a woman that maybe your wife is spending money where she don't need to spend money, or you're trying to save for something, how do you bring that to your wife's attention and talk to her and let her know? And how do you not put your foot down? Because you can put your foot down all you want, but your wife can chop it off too. So we ain't gonna talk about that. So you put your foot down in our sense. How do you, and we'll start with you, Brian, how do you go about telling her, babe, you're spending too much, we need to cut back? How do you do that?
Okay, so in my household it's a little different. So I don't know. Do you want me to speak from your scenario that you gave, or do you want me to speak from experience?
You can do both. You can speak from the scenario I gave, and then what you do in your house, because it may help someone else that don't know how to control that in their house. What you do may help them.
Right. Yeah. So everybody's household is totally different, right? So based on this scenario that you just got through, the best thing to do at that point is, if she's spending too much money, is to join her, right? Join her in the investments that she's doing. Because if you join her in the investments, then you can kind of steer her in the right direction to where, she's not losing all the money, or y'all can come together and say, okay, babe, we want to invest this amount of money, because this is the amount of money that we can afford to lose if something happened. Because in investments, you're going to have those situations where you're going to lose some money and you're going to make some money. But at least I know if we lose this amount, it's not going to hurt us. So let's take this amount, let's put this in a different account, and let's just work our investments out of that account. Okay. That would be the best way to, in that scenario that you're speaking of, to try to help her, so that she'll start seeing is to jump in and start helping her to not helping her, but being a partner with her in her investment endeavors. And that way she'll have somebody else, to really bounce to her ideals off of. And then that way you can steer it without actually going in and saying, no, you're doing it the wrong way. You do it like this, and you need to do it like that. You just spend it. That's just too much. So the best thing to do is to jump in and be partners with her. And that way, even if she's going to be the head partner, that's fine. you could be the head partner. I just want to jump in and just try to help, see what I can do to help you out as far as, how you're doing it, because you clearly you see your bottom line is a negative right now. So let's jump in. Let's both learn this process and let's see if we can help each other out. That would be the best approach that I see for that. But now for my household, it operates a little differently. What we do is we have a one account, right? That we pay bills out of, and then we have our separate accounts, right? So the money that we have separately, that is the money that she used to, to do her thing. She controls that money. I control the money that I have that I, want to do little different things of. And then you got money that we actually save. So we have like 4 different accounts. So that way is simple. I don't try to control her on what she spend or what she does. She's a grown woman. She knows that, hey, I got $300 in the account, right? I can't go out here and spend $500. I only got 300, But if she does, she knows that she has a husband that's there for her, that will give her the rest of the money that she needs. But at the same time, it works for our household. Now, for somebody else's household, it may not work that way.
Okay. Oh, what about you with that? Like talking about finances with the money. How do you talk about it in a sense of helping one another and not telling her or you can't because, but what do you do to talk about money to show, hey, this is to help us, not to hurt us?
Yeah, I would use it as an opportunity, like a lesson, learning opportunity. So I would, I've done it before because, I get into stuff and go head first, trading stocks, options, and all that stuff. I actually took a course last year, when the pandemic started, and I started trading stocks, started making money, started doing options, and Imani was watching it and she wanted to get in. She's like, can you teach me how to do this? And the way she learns and the way I teach sometimes, doesn't mesh. So what I would do is, and what I did, I would either, get her buy a course, because you can buy a course for everything nowadays. And I would look for like a female that's teaching the course, because a lot of times they can speak to each other. They speak the same language. So I sent her a couple of videos from YouTube on this one woman that was trading stocks and options. And, she started watching that video and just use the opportunity to, you don't have to be the teacher, but you can facilitate, where someone else can come in and help your wife out there, So that's what I did in that situation. Yeah.
That's a good thing. Tony, tell me what you would do, or how you and your wife work that out finances.
Basically the same way Oz does. Like, I'm real big on research. I'm either on Google, YouTube. if there's something to find, my wife would be like, babe, I can't find this. And she'll give it to me, I find it like that.
Yeah.
Because so I'm like, okay, well, this is happening. Let's see how we can get this to happen. Let's see what we can find to see, okay, oh, well, we're losing in that one. Let's find something to offset that so we can put this money here and make that money back. And then we'll kind of build it up from there.
Okay. So this is a topic. I think this part here is something that we, as men, we all have problems with. It's talking about our emotions and our feelings, like what we truly feel and what we think, right? So, and starting with you, or just help me understand, or give me some tips on how you express yourself about what you're feeling and what you're thinking, and being open. Like, how did you get to a point to be open with Imani, to make her comfortable about things in your life and how you think and how you move towards life? At what point and how did you do it?
Well, a lot of the times, your wife will look at you like this, bigger than reality person, or, this person has wide, strong shoulders. So, nothing I say can hurt them. So sometimes everybody will say stuff that, hurt my feelings, but she's like, he's a man, he can take that. That ain't gonna hurt his feelings. And sometimes, you would take it. But I got to a point where I started letting her know, hey, this, that wasn't cool, that kind of hurt my feelings. And that was hard for me to do as a man, because you was like, all right, sometimes you just, the person's joking, but it may hit you a different type of way. So when you express that and let your wife know, you know, that's not cool. And Imani, you know, as soon as I told her, she was like, all right, I didn't know that would hurt you, though. I didn't know guys got offended by stuff like that. But like, well, I guess I do, you know. I can't speak for other guys. But I think communication and letting that person know, because if they don't know, then they don't feel like, you know, there's anything wrong with it. So if you let that person know and then they correct it, then, you know, it's cool. But, you know, so.
I got you.
Yeah.
And Tony, for you, let me ask you, how is it with you with communication? At what point did you break that barrier to say, I have to talk to my wife about things that I'm used to holding in?
Well, for me, it's a little different. I used to be in the military, and when I came back from overseas, I was diagnosed with PTSD. So I had to go to therapy, and this was
Hold on, say that again. You had to do what?
Go to therapy.
Say it one more time.
I had to go to therapy.
Men, listen, it's okay to go to therapy. It does not take away from you being a man to go to therapy. That's in our community. I just want to say that. Go ahead.
Yeah. But like, and that's the truth, because the biggest thing about therapy, it lets you know your triggers, and lets you know what's going to set you off, and lets you know how to react and get used to reacting a certain way. So by the time I got in a relationship, I never had any boundaries of letting her know my feelings and let her know how I felt. Sometimes it was like a little bit too much information. I tell her too much, she's like, oh, and it kind of like a surprise that, because like a lot of women aren't used to men expressing feelings.
Right.
Like it was one time we were together, and I said something, and she reacted. She was like, "Well, you ain't gotta act soft." And I looked at her. I was like, "This is real messed up. Like, so I can't have feelings. I can't react a certain way. I gotta be all the time." And like when I said that, it kind of hit her too, and she was like, and it was an automatic apology. She was like, "Well, I didn't mean it like that. I'm sorry." And like we because of that, we've been able to progress through a lot of stuff, because I went to therapy and I learned how to deal with myself before I had to deal with somebody else.
Nice.
And Brian, you help me with that as well too. What you do with therapy as well too, because he brought that up, and that's a good thing. Like, how do you think about therapy as well, and what did you do to get past the boundaries of being able to express yourself?
So therapy is always been in my family. I just personally, I don't personally care or like the word therapy, right? But that's just nothing against therapists or nothing like that. It's just growing up old school, we was taught that, hey, you're a man, you could take it, you know, you don't have to go to therapy. But lately it's been really brought to our attention that, hey, in the African American community, we need to start going to therapy. It's not a bad thing, right? But it was a bad thing back in the day, like you was crazy or you couldn't control yourself, or so that made it worse back then. But now it's starting to be widely accepted in the African American. I think it's starting to be accepted more now in the African American community than anything else. But you know how many times I've heard the word, "Oh, you being sensitive." you too sensitive, you being soft, I'm like, well, babe, sometimes I have to express myself to you and let you know my deepest feelings, right? Do I still let my wife know everything? No, I don't. Because if women cannot handle a lot of the sensitivity, or if a man open up and tell her his true feelings about certain things, they wouldn't understand. So some things you have to hold off and talk to other men about, right? So you got to have at least another man that you can talk to talk to you about your feelings as a man. I mean, the man have to wear so many hats. We have to wear father hats, we have to wear a husband hat, we got to wear a brother hat, cousin hat, uncle hat. In my situation, I got to wear a grandfather hat. So it just kind of, we wear so many different hats, and just not knowing how to jump from hat to hat to hat to hat throughout the day. Sometimes you got to have somebody to talk to, outside of your wife. But opening up to your wife to a certain extent, I believe is the key. You know what your wife can handle, what your wife can handle, right? So some of those things you just kind of like hold to yourself. I know my wife is probably listening, so babe, we'll talk about it after this.
And I do want to end it. This is probably the last question is going to take us out. But I do want to ask, like, helping with the children. Like, this is a big part. I think, you've heard, the man don't help with the child. I'm always doing everything by myself. What would you all say? We can start with you, Antonio, as well. What would you say? How do you help your wife so she don't feel like everything about the kids is on her?
First, I think you have to start out by letting each other know, like, expectational roles, like that traditional role of the father, the husband is taking care of bills, taking care of the household, so that the wife, mother, has that time to take care of the kids. Mm-hmm. But nowadays it's kind of flip flop. Sometimes it's changing around. But for us, it's more of me. I try to make sure I work hard now while my kids are younger, so that they can enjoy more down the line. So sometimes it does put more on my wife. But one of the things that I wanted to, because she was a teacher when we first met, but one of the things I wanted to do, and she also wanted, was to get out of teaching and like be able to focus more on the kids. So we had a conversation, and this is my opinion of my perspective of it. She wants me to help she just wants that day off. She wants that break every now and then, because she's kind of getting what she wants, that more time with the kids, more individualized, face to face with each one of our children.
Okay, all righty. What about you, O?
So basically, growing up, I had the whole thing in my head because I was born in Guyana, South America, and me and my family, came to the United States 1986. And it was just, my grandmother basically bought all her daughters and all her daughters' kids. And basically the fathers, stayed back in Guyana. So I kind of grew up, without a father, knowing what that was about. You know what I'm saying? So like my older brother and my older cousins, they were like the closest thing to a father figure. Mm-hmm. So when I got married, to Imani, and when she got pregnant, I wanted to put her in a situation where she didn't have to go back to work, unless she wanted to. Well, I didn't want her to go back to work, not the 9 to 5 anyway. So, I worked extra hard, so she wouldn't have to go back to work. And she hasn't been back to a traditional job since then. She works at home and works for herself now as a relationship marriage coach. But I kind of fell into that rut of, all right, I'm working 10 hours a day. When I come home, I want a meal, want everything to be ready for me and stuff like that. But I had to realize, especially when she started her business, I was, right behind her, like, all right, I got your back, start your business. But even then I would come home and be like, there's nothing ready. Like she wasn't working, just because she's working from home doesn't mean she's not working. And she was taking care of the baby too. So I kind of had to check myself after a while and realize that it's a partnership and we both have to contribute, equally at work and equally at home. So, sometimes I forget that, but I remind myself. So sometimes I'll take the baby on jobs with me, if Imani has a meeting set up and I'll set the baby up in the car. She has a tablet, I'm working on the car, whatever. And sometimes if Imani's working, I'll take the baby to the park, be daddy and daughter day, to give her a peace of mind. Cause, sometimes being at home with the baby, you can go stir crazy. So I try to do different things. And one thing that we started to do on her birthdays, she'll usually go to a hotel just to get away. Sometimes she'll go with another girlfriend or just for herself to either work on her business or just to do nothing at all, man. So I think that's ways, that I contribute, to kind of helping in the household.
Okay. And Brian, go ahead and close us out on that question.
Okay. So again, I told you guys at the beginning that I was very old school. So I've always believed that the wife runs the house. All right. You are the enforcer to make sure that everybody stays in line, but she runs the house. What she say about this house goes, period. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how I was raised. When we first got married, and I had two kids already. Then when me and Princess started having other children, our children as well, she was still working 9 to 5. She was working. I think when we had our first son, she started a home daycare so that she wouldn't have to work 9 to 5. So she would still do um, her thing as far as cooking and making sure everything at the house is correct. Then I would come home and just do my thing, and that'll be it. But as time kind of progressed, I did start taking more of a hands on with the kids because I was a basketball coach. My kids loved my 3 older kids. They loved basketball, so we would go and do basketball. We did AAU. We did all the traveling, everything. So 9 times out of 10, the kids mostly were with me, except when they were babies, like my son, my second to the youngest. He was a kid. She would always keep him back. He would go to the gym with us a lot of times, but not all the time.
Yeah.
But most of the time the kids were out of the house either with me doing basketball or something like that. But she still would take care of the younger kids and things of that nature. So I mean, did I ever give her relief times as far as like this, coming home and taking care of the kids while she go do her thing? I did every now and then, but it wasn't like, it was in set schedule, you know what I mean? But yeah, so that's where we were with that. But right now we're really good with our 14-year-old. He's a mom and daddy kid, so he likes to hang out with mom a lot, so that's cool. I had no problem with that because I work a lot. So they work from home. So they actors, so they work from home. They do their thing, and I come home, they run me now. I come home from work, man, or and I gotta do videotapes all night, trying to do auditions for them. So so right now it's good. It's all good.
And that's actually a great segue to say, like, as a father, how do you support your kids' dreams, right? And work with them, or I know you, Antonio, I think you got small kids. Oh, I know your daughter is younger. But what is it that you all will say? We can start with you, Antonio, that you do as a father for your kids. I know you said one thing, you working hard now to make sure that they can have a better life later. But right now, let me ask, how old are your kids?
13, 12, 6, and 10 months.
Okay, so your 13-year-old, have you ever talked to your 13-year-old about what they want to do?
Yeah, I've had that conversation with the oldest two the most. My oldest, she's an artist. I've been drawing since a young age, so I always buy her art books, art supplies. I teach her how to actually draw, like from shapes, and I basically start her from where I started learning and I'm getting her progressing. She's progressing better and better. She wants to be an artist. Now with my oldest son, he's more gamer, techie, which is on my web design side. I do coding. So he said his dream school is MIT. When he said it, it hurt my heart because I started thinking about the price. But we're gonna make it happen. So I've already introduced him to coding and just like getting them in that mentality early and learn those concepts. So that when it's time to go to MIT, like he's been a straight A student since preschool, basically.
Yeah.
Like he's an overachiever. He hates, like he gets a B, he's disappointed. Like I want to say 2 years ago, I want to say 5th grade, they had principal's honor roll, which is all A's, and regular honor roll. He got regular honor roll because he had 1 B, all A's, 1 B. He did not want to frame that certificate. He's like, I don't want this. I don't care about this. It wasn't good enough.
Wow.
That's great. And he still does, like he in one of the classes now he has 100 in class, I think, and he's still doing extra credit.
Wow.
Nice.
That's a good
That's
thing.
real nice. Yeah, that's a good thing.
Like he want to do better than best. Exactly. So I feel like he's on momentum. So I just teach him. I just give him little tools for his tool bag so he can get where he needs to be before he needs to be there.
And B, answer that for me. What is it that you would say you do or did, because you have grown kids? Like, what other than going to the gym and things like that? Like, what would you say that you did as well?
Well, I mean, we always probe our kids, what they want to do. I'm going to use Derek Donovan for short because he's my 14-year-old now. He's an actor. He's done several big campaigns already. He's got a sitcom that he's working on now. But I saw the talent in him for acting. My wife really didn't want him to get in acting because she was already in acting. She didn't want to get him in acting. And I kept on and said, no, he's going to be good at this, man. He's going to be good at this. Watch. So the very first audition he went to, he got the part, right? It was a small part, but he got the part right away. She was just like, wow, okay, well, maybe he may be good at this. So that was us learning what he liked to do at the beginning because he's real bright, he's real smart. He pick up on lines very well. He is an artist. He did his first kid illustration book last year for a young lady that is published now of a kids book. She's got a kids series that's coming out. And that she wants him to do as well. So he finally got his first published illustration book as a illustrator. So he did that. But he really loves to draw. He's really big in anime. So we kind of geared towards that. We started doing t-shirt business for him. We started out like a little small t-shirt business for him to see if that kind of, something he wanted to do. He did a couple of those. He was like, no, that's not really what I want to do. So we backed off it, just trying to find where his niche is, just trying to push him in any kind of way that he wants to go, and that's the same thing we did with the other kids. We try to find out what their interests are. My 23-year-old, he's a gamer. He worked with he was on the NBA Live 2000 what was last year 2020 team 1920 team. So he didn't get picked up this year, but he did do it last year, so he's still doing that. So whatever they want to do, we kind of push them in that way.
Okay, and we can end it with you all.
Yeah. So basically, what I try to do or strive to do is not put Sovereign in a box. Kids, I don't want to kind of push them in the direction of what I think they should be. I let her tell me, what she wants to be. I'll ask her, every now and then, and the answer changes all the time. But it's not as simple as just not putting them in a box. You want to create, some stability for them, when they get older. Financial literacy. I opened a custodial stock account, so she's investing at a young age. So by the time she gets to an age where she wants to decide, and I want to go to school or I want to start a business, she has the financial backing to make that choice and not feel forced into making a choice based on availability of funds. So not putting her in a box and creating financial stability for when she's older, that she can make her own decisions and not be forced into decisions by society or, whoever.
Yeah. Well, listen, guys, I appreciate you all for coming on. I appreciate you all for allowing me to be the host and money. Also, to let you all know, the final party is going to be at 8 p.m. The link is in the event space email as well, too. You all can log in. But do any of you have any final remarks that you would like to say to the people?
This was great, brother, man. You were a great host, and we appreciate you, man.
I appreciate it as well too. We have to have fun, man, but also let the world know. Listen, it's men out here that want to help other men heal, grow. Go past mistakes that they have made, because we understand the importance of marriage. Like when you become a unit, and I'm working on getting there. I've seen how units can literally change someone's trajectory in life.
Right.
they was going this way by themselves. They got with a person, and she was able to show them, hey, listen, no, you can do it this way. And it's like, man, I've been doing it this way this long. And then you show me this, and I'm skipping 13 steps, and I was about to do 14, So I think that's the biggest thing as men we got to understand. When you get, like Brian, like you said, when you get with the right one, that show the right woman, then all of the things like Otis and Antonio said, life falls into place. We're not saying that it's going to be perfect, but it makes your life better when you find the right woman for your life. Exactly. So once again, I want to thank you all. Imani, thank you as well too, guys. Hey, look forward to talking to you all again. You all take care, okay?
All right. Everybody have a good one.
All right. Now.